Hey everybody, it's Kary Oberbrunner, and I'm here with Chad Willardson. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Listen, first of all, I'm jealous of your hair. Second
It
of
took me a
all,
long time to grow it. It really
oh
did.
man, I'll tell you
Be
what,
patient.
it's just good here. But you look great. You got the number one bestseller. We're going to be talking today all about stress-free money. Chad, why is that an important topic today?
It's an important topic because anxiety and stress around money is one of the greatest things that everyone has in common. I mean, no matter where you are or what level you're at financially, you're feeling some anxiety or stress about money, especially in 2020.
Absolutely. Well, listen, folks, we are doing a live book launch. This is a fantastic day. We got lots of Chad's friends jumping on, as well as the whole world. What I want you to do is type in below where you're from. Chad, you don't know this, but I'm going to let you in on a little surprise.
All right.
I'm going to be giving away your book to 3 of the most engaged members
Awesome.
today.
Awesome.
So folks, not only are you going to get gold from teaching, and by the way, look, wait, Montreal just showed up. See,
I like it. He said
fantastic.
it's sunny though. I'm not sure. Is it really sunny in Montreal today?
That is a good question. That is a good question. So, folks, what we're going to be doing is we're talking about stress-free money, and it's already a number one bestseller. First of all, let's talk about that. How cool is that on your book launch day to have already achieved that? That is pretty slick.
I am shocked, humbled, and thankful. To be honest, it's I didn't expect it, but we've had great support, so I really appreciate it.
It's fantastic. You already got financial risk management. You've got wealth. I think don't you think people are ready for this message? And if so, why are people right now on October 1st, 2020, more concerned about this topic than ever?
I think people see how much stress has affected them. When they think about money, they feel sometimes intimidated or overwhelmed. And there's so many uncertainties, the things that they can't control. And so people finally are just like, you know what, I got to do something. I need to do something. So maybe I can learn a few things that will help get me into a better position.
Absolutely. Well, listen, you have people jumping in from all over, lots of friends of yours. Leah, you have Mindy as well. Mindy Moore. We have Portland in the house, Port Orange, Florida. Susie, you know Susie?
I do. What's up, Susie?
She's pretty pumped. All right, so Chad, let's jump into the content itself.
Okay.
You are the founder and president of Pacific Capital, and most people do not know what a fiduciary is. First of all, folks, get out your pens and paper. You're going to learn a massive term, and here's the thing: he's going to pull back the curtain on how most of you are investing. I think there's only 3% of the world that's fiduciaries or something like that.
It's less than 5 for sure.
Less than 5
for sure. Yep.
So what is a fiduciary, and why are the rest of us maybe not in the right spot?
Fiduciary is someone who is legally obligated to put your interests first at all times. It's a unique category of financial advisors. So like you said, Kary, 95% of people out there, financial professionals, are really brokers or agents. You know, they work for a big bank, they work for an insurance company, which is fine. You just should know that they've got incentives to sell things, they've got quotas, they've got commissions, and maybe you felt that pressure before, where you're being sold something from a financial person, and you kind of felt that resistance, and that's why. Dealing with a fiduciary is totally different. Very independent, objective advice. It's just a different system. So we're not incentivized the same way that a sales rep is.
Folks, you got to catch that. If the medical world was like that, we would all cry as if it were a crime. I mean, if doctors literally cared for your health based upon what would incentivize them, we would all call, foul. But yet in the financial world, they can literally, ethically or non-ethically guide someone in their financial health, realizing that if they give this product or this vehicle, they're going to actually get paid more. Chad, why is that even legal today?
It's crazy. I'll give you a little inside scoop here, but for the last 5 to 7 years, there's been a huge push in Washington to make fiduciary standard basically the universal standard where everyone's got to be on the same playing field. The big banks, the investment banks, spent tens and tens of millions of dollars to lobby against that happening. Totally blocked it. So you've got a lot of money and profits at stake for shareholders of these big companies, and they're looking. I mean, they're looking to create profits, and so how do they create profits? They charge people. So there's nothing wrong with making a profit, but let's get people on the same page so that the advisor and the client both win together. They both succeed together. So no one should be winning at your expense.
See, there you go.
You know what I mean?
There you go. Because, and by the way, Shannon's here. Shannon Waller from Strategic.
Toronto. All right.
Janelle's here. I mean, you got the whole world here. At least the important part of the world. But let's talk about that for a moment, because I like what you're saying. You're not throwing every agent or broker under the bus, but what you are saying is it should be fair. If the broker wins, the client wins. I should say, if the client wins, the broker wins, and if the client loses, the broker loses. But that's only true with a fiduciary.
I think you've got to have transparency. That's something, you've got to have transparency of cost and transparency of incentives. And you really shouldn't be incentivized to do anything that isn't in the client's best interest. So with that doctor analogy, if you've got a doctor and they've got 3 bottles of pills in the shelf, and one of them pays them 4 times as much money, and maybe it has some little side effects that you may not want, but hey, it pays me 4 times these other pills, and they probably all work similarly, then I legally can take that off the shelf and say, this is my prescription. And I think that's just a disservice in general. And I speak from experience. I was on the other side. I was at Merrill Lynch for 9 years, and I really enjoyed it, met a lot of great people. I'm not talking about the people. I'm just talking about the incentives and the financial arrangement.
Yeah.
Right? So,
yes, I hear what you're saying. Janelle loves that one. No one should be winning at your expense. Here's a question, and I think you actually have a free assessment that's amazing. But Lisa says, by the way, Lisa's one of my clients. She's amazing. How do you find someone that truly is a fiduciary? Is this something that I can show them Pacific Capital and you have your goal conversation? Is that possible?
Yes, you can. You can show them on Pacific Capital, but I will give Lisa a quick tip. Okay. Here's some quick things to note on how you can find a fiduciary. First of all,
before you do that, Chad, folks, tag a friend. Right now, this is gold. I mean, literally what Chad's going to share is what 97% of the population does not want you to hear in terms of brokers. He's got a book called Stress-Free Money. He's actually going to turn in his book and find it. And don't worry if you can't find the page. I can never remember what page my stuff is.
No, I found it.
Look at that.
So a fiduciary, just so you know, a couple quick things. The fiduciary will not work for the company that holds your financial account. They will not work for the company that is selling you the insurance policy. So if I do an insurance policy with XYZ insurance company, you don't want the person giving you advice to also be employed by XYZ insurance company. That means that they're working for the firm and they're not a fiduciary working for you. If you're putting your money at XYZ bank, your advisor, you don't want your advisor working also at XYZ bank. There's just conflicts of interest, and that's an easy way to say, do I have a fiduciary or do I not? But also you can ask, your financial professional should be honest. But one thing that I wanted to point out, it says a fiduciary professional must act in the beneficiary of or client's best interest at all times. This may mean recommending a financial strategy that results in reduced or no compensation simply because it's the best option for their clients.
Whoa.
So you got to just give the best advice regardless. You're legally bound. And that's when you take that pledge, it's a big step. But I think people are thirsty and hungry for independent and objective advice.
I believe it. And let's just be honest. I know you're humble about it, Chad, but you're doing a good job, and that's why your business is growing. So what is a goals conversation, and is there a catch? And I don't know. I honestly don't know. Is there a fee? I mean, it'd be cool if there's a fee with it. What does this all mean? What does this
No,
all mean?
the goals conversation is simply the first step. When someone gets referred to us or they find us online, they schedule a goals conversation. They fill out a few pieces of information about their background and what their goals and concerns are. And then someone on our team or myself will have an actual, now it's a Zoom chat, we'll have a talk with them and get to know them. It's really more of like a mutual interview discovery process.
Yeah.
To see if there's a fit. There's no cost to it. Sometimes people are a great fit for what we do, and other times it's not, but we can give them maybe some direction to go somewhere else. So that's all it is, no catch.
And listen, folks, Chad's a guy that I've met and known for 2 years. And I can just tell you, we're in a strategic coach group together. The guy's always saying gold. I mean, he really is. When he shares, it's thoughtful. Let's talk a little bit about your family, because I think people got to know about your background. First of all, great, beautiful family.
Thank you.
I mean, look at that. Look at that, folks. So my point is, how do you do it all? I mean, your business is growing.
Mhm.
You're writing books. You're adding value to your clients. Your family's beautiful. You do charity. You've done mission work.
Yeah.
What in the book talks about just creating a life worth living?
That's a great question, Kary. And when people see our 5 kids, the first question they ask is, are they all yours? And then the second question is, how do you do it? Like, how do you manage all your time? And I think what's important is you've got to prioritize what matters. Keep the main things the main things. And so when it comes to family and business and community service and things like that, I prioritize those things and basically schedule what's important to me, and then other things fall into place. And I've got a great team. I don't want to forget to mention my amazing team and my family and all the support around me. I certainly have some great people that help support what I'm doing, but the prioritization, focusing on what matters and letting the things go that don't matter as much, that's really helped a lot.
That's great. Comments are coming in so fast that I honestly can't even keep up. We have people who are tagging friends
Awesome.
because they're totally digging it. Lisa just tagged her husband. Here's what let's do. Let's do this, Erica. Let's give away our very first copy. Again, people are going to get a free copy if they are the most engaged person. That means comments, tags, shares, likes. So let's give away this. Message me, Erica, on Slack so I can pick and announce the winner. Chad, let's get into the next part here. I want to ask some specific questions. What are some of the top financial mistakes that people make?
Yeah, some of the obstacles I talk about in the book, I'll highlight a couple, but the first one is, well, I'll tell a little quick story analogy. So imagine you're getting ready to go on a vacation and you're getting ready to pack your suitcase and you have no idea where you're going, where you're leaving from, and when you're going there. Like, what are you going to pack? You got no idea, right? That's how we approach our financial life. In fact, most people spend more time planning their vacations than they do planning their financial life. And I get it, it's not as fun, but you got to know where you're going first and when you want to get there. So the number one mistake we see is you don't have clear goals.
That's so good.
So if without goals, how do you know where you're going? How do you really know what you're going to aim for? You can't develop a strategy or decide what to invest in or where to put your money unless you at least start with the end in mind. You have some goals.
That's great. So that is a crazy stat. Most people spend more time planning a vacation than their financial investments. Wow. What should entrepreneurs and families look for in a financial advisor? Is that the fiduciary thing? Is there any other thing that they should pay attention to?
One part is you'll benefit by having a fiduciary advisor who's giving you that independent guidance and objective advice. I would say also, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, you should be looking for a fiduciary who is also a business owner, who has experience.
Ooh.
Like you, right? It means a lot more to work with someone who's in the trenches and has built businesses, has real estate investments. If you invest in real estate, find a fiduciary advisor who has experience investing in real estate. I wouldn't go hire a trainer at the gym who looks like they've never worked out or doesn't eat healthy, right?
So true.
We go after financial advice from people who aren't in a position that we want to get to. So I think as an entrepreneur, you should look for fiduciary advisors who have business ownership experience as well. That's one thing I would say.
I love it. Look at these people here. Leah, such a beautiful, strong-minded family. Heather's jumping in. We have Lisa, man, she's a fan. Lisa just bought a book. We have Tanisha, another one of my favorite people. She just bought the book. Shannon jumping in. You have Julia Waller. The whole family's here. Listen, the likes keep coming. When we started, 20 people are watching. We just hit 60. Folks, let's give away the prize. Let's give away one of the prizes here. I'm going to announce the first winner, Dinah Reed. Dinah Reed, big congratulations to you. Welcome. You got the book. Erica's going to be getting your address. We'll shoot it right over to you. Is there some fear in getting that goals conversation call? Why do people have apprehension? Is it like, I don't want to go to the doctor because I know what the doctor's going to say? I mean, what do you think?
I think people feel intimidated maybe because there's just so much information coming in these days. They get bombarded, and so they're not sure where to start. They don't want to look misinformed or uninformed, or they just know they've been procrastinating it for so long, and it's that thing that just nags you that, like, I know I should do something with my financial life, but I just don't know what I should do. So I believe once you have a goals conversation and you build that trust with our team, we're a client first, fiduciary. We're not going to make you feel uncomfortable. It's way easier than going to the dentist, I promise.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where you go and afterwards you say, why did I wait so long?
Absolutely.
In fact, yeah, check out one of she might be a client, I'm guessing. I cannot put into words the weight Chad has taken off our shoulders with regards to our financial future. That's pretty powerful, man. When you get the crowd that weighs in like that, how does that make you and your team feel?
That's why we do what we do, honestly, Kary, is because seeing someone come in as a blank canvas with all these things going on in their life, and they're worried about this and that, and we're able to just help them get clarity and confidence. Our mission is to help you enjoy life by removing your stress about money. And so when we see our clients go through that mindset transition and really get everything sorted in the right spot, they have, like Jackie said, they have the weight taken off their shoulders, and they can be a lot more confident. They can focus their time on things that they love because they've got a fiduciary team in their corner.
So good. Awesome. Hey, here's one. Why did you start Pacific Capital?
I started Pacific Capital because I believed that giving people the best advice in more of a personal service experience was more important than all the corporate perks that I was receiving for working for one of the big Fortune 100 companies. The slow bureaucracy and the conflicts, it was kind of like a tug of war where one arm was often pulled to the side.
Yes.
Of what does the firm and the management team want me to do, and the other arm was like, what would I tell my mom or my grandma? What does the client need? And eventually, I just had to pick, and so I took that leap of faith and started Pacific Capital in 2011. And obviously, I chose the clients and being a fiduciary, and we haven't looked back. I mean, it was scary at first. It really was. It was. I was 32 years old. And I look back and I'm like, holy cow, what was I thinking? But here we are. So
did you have kids at that age?
I did. Yes. We had, I'd say we had 3 kids at that time, 3 young kids.
Yep. I'm with you, man. Let's jump right in and let's talk about now what are some of the biggest takeaways. So we have a lot of people buying the book right now. And before we get into takeaways, does that mean people can only hire you if they live in your city?
Oh no, we recently got a client in the Netherlands. So
no way.
I did a podcast in the UK last night. She asked me the same question, but no, we have clients all over. I think the technology and the acceptance of technology in 2020 has made it even easier. So no, we can work with clients anywhere.
That's unbelievable. I honestly didn't know the answer to that question. I would have thought, no, you can only work with people, but that's awesome. Netherlands, holy cow. What are some takeaways? I mean, the book's fantastic. It's on Amazon. It's already a bestseller in multiple categories. What are some takeaways for people?
I think if I could sum up the main takeaway, I would say that a stress-free relationship with money is possible for anyone. And I really believe you deserve that. That's why I wrote the book, is because I believe that the principles inside the book can apply to you whether you have 100,000 or 100 million. It doesn't matter. The principles are the same. So
that's good.
It could be for someone who's just starting out and wants to learn how to be smart with their money. And I saw a lot of people comment on LinkedIn saying they bought it for their college-age kids. You know, I would have loved this advice when I was younger, and I just wanted to put in some insights and stories and principles that would help people get through those mindset obstacles, know what to focus on and what to ignore, and get on a clearer path to financial freedom.
I love it. You just mentioned about that tug of war. I'm a picture guy. I'm a visual guy. I don't know if you can see that, but
here it is. Yeah, I can see it.
That's powerful. So you had to choose, and then you said, I'm going to put, I love that. You followed your heart. When you have to recommend things that aren't the client's best interest,
right,
you can't sleep at night. And that was a growing concern. And I love that you stepped up. Let's even talk about obstacle number one. No clear goals.
Yeah.
That gets back to your point about packing up for the trip that you have no idea where it's going. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. If you're shooting archery, you've got a bow and arrow and there's no target. How do you measure your progress? How do you improve? How do you even know if you're on track? I think, and having clear goals and purpose will motivate you to be more disciplined and successful. So I like to follow up questions with somebody by saying, so if someone says, well, I'd love to have some investment real estate, and I want to have, let's say, pick a number, 15,000 a month in passive income from investment real estate. Okay, great. We're going to help you write down that goal and build a plan. But I want to say, so that what? And maybe we dig deep enough and they say, so that I can make sure that even if something happens to my job, I can take care of my ill mother who's going to need care in the next couple of years. And so we dig deep enough and we can find out what their actual purpose and the meaning is. Then the money has meaning and purpose, and they really have more conviction and commitment to reach their goals. They've got something that's pushing them from the inside. You know what I mean?
That's so good, folks. You got to catch that. I got to repeat it. That's huge. So what you do, Chad, is you don't just say, let's pick a number. I want $5 million, because that's not what, it's not motivating. It's not
right.
What?
It's just an arbitrary number with no purpose behind it. We need to understand why you're doing what you're doing.
Do you think most people give up with a goal that has no purpose?
I think it's very hard to stay committed. And I also think without a purpose, you might be distracted by shiny objects, along the way.
Yeah.
So if you've got a purpose and you're going somewhere, then you're not going to be taken off the path by some opportunity that will distract you from what you're actually going for.
That is awesome. And then what if you do tie the money to taking care of your ill mom and the shiny object comes? Then what have you seen with your clients?
It's a much different conversation, because we talk about their goals and we go back to that initial goals conversation and say, has anything changed? And maybe that shiny object, that new opportunity, is something that they should pursue. And so we're going to look at the strategy we've built for them and find a different avenue that can still meet those goals, together.
Interesting. Chad, I'm going to throw some conventional wisdom at you, and you tell me as a financial advisor. And by the way, this isn't planned, folks, so Chad's in the hot seat here.
Ready.
What about the person who says, don't enjoy life now, just keep saving for later? In other words, you want that latte, that same $5 latte is going to be $50 in 20 years. You shouldn't have anything. I mean, I look at your family, I look at your life. I don't see you like that unless I'm being wrong. Is that the approach you have?
No, we definitely are not. We're definitely not eating, the top ramen just so we can have a great retirement when we're 70.
There you go.
But I would say, I think you feel out of control when you don't have a plan, and that causes a lot of waste.
Ooh.
So when you're wasting, if you don't tell your money where to go, it'll tell you where to go. So if
you're
wasting,
good.
You know what I mean?
Hold on. Folks, write that down. That's tweetable. Say it again. If you don't tell
your money where to go, it'll tell you where to go. It's not a good place. So you've got to actually, so you may be just letting money go down the drain, but once you get your priorities and your goals set up first, you should still have money left over for the things you really love. We definitely don't say you should save every single dollar and just scrimp and be miserable until you're 70 and retired. You need to enjoy life. You have no guarantees of how long you're going to be here. But the more you have a plan and a structure and priorities in place, the more you will enjoy life, because your goals and your actions are aligned. Oftentimes I'll say, if I could see your calendar and I can see your bank account, I know what you care about. Doesn't matter what you post on social media or what you tell your friends. Let me see where you spend your time, and let me see where you spend your money. That's going to show what you actually care about, because your actions are speaking louder than your words.
That is good. Well, Jordan agreed with me. Boom. I think your team needs to make a graphic of that quote. That was pretty powerful. Lots of people are repeating it here. So we're going to give away our second book, folks. And again, here's what I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask you to tag somebody who would absolutely benefit from this. And here's what I mean. Some people do have a tough time enjoying life. They do struggle spending money because they feel like, scarcity. Other people who are listening say, oh my gosh, Fiduciary, I now know there's another model. I would love for you to put in the comments the number one thing you learned so far from Chad, even just in the first 30 minutes. And we're going to go into the next 30 minutes here, and he's going to drop some more value bombs here. He's got some obstacles that he's going to be talking about. But let's jump in now, Chad, with a few other things. How do you know what markets will do in the short run? That's a little specified question there, but what do you think?
I don't.
Ooh.
I have no idea. And any advisor who tries to tell you what they think will happen in the short term is a fake fortune teller. That's what I call them, a bunch of fortune tellers. Our job is not to predict the markets. I have no idea what's going to happen in the next 3 to 6 months. However, I'm very confident that we can help you prepare so that no matter what happens, you're going to be best positioned for success. That's the answer. Is I can help you prepare. Our team will help you get all the things in order so that no matter what happens, you're actually going to be in a great position to succeed, especially over the long haul. I mean, we look at the long term and we say the average stock market return is going to be 8 to 10% per year over the long term. Over the short term, it's totally unpredictable. You get rewarded by being patient, by being committed to the long-term investment strategy. You're not going to be able to go in and out and in and out and in and out and time it right. So like in February and March, the markets are down 40% in 30 days. The coronavirus and the markets and everything's crashing and it looks scary. We're making investment changes to find opportunities because we believe in the long term that things will recover. And they quickly did. And so investment tweaks that we made benefited quickly because of that kind of that long-term perspective that we use. But people who want to bail every time it gets scary, it's like two analogies I like to use. It's like uprooting the tree in the winter every year when the leaves fall off and it gets windy and rainy. And say, oh, there's no fruit, no leaves, just take the tree out. This is ridiculous. It's not working. So we take the tree out and then I'll replant it once the sun is out again. You can't uproot the tree and replant the tree and uproot the tree and plant the tree. You just got to trust that eventually spring will come and everything will blossom again.
That's so good. That is awesome. What a good analogy. And
it's tempting for people to just want to uproot every time. And I would also say, when you're in the middle of the scary roller coaster ride, it's safer to stay on than to jump off the roller coaster. So don't jump off in the middle of the ride. Make sure you have a plan, and you're not gonna eject yourself in the middle of the upside down loop.
Absolutely. I forget who told me this, but it was something like, if you look back at the most profitable days in the last 20 years, it's like 13 days or something, something like that, where it's like, if you miss those 13 days with your money being in the stock market, you would have missed
almost everything.
Yeah, almost everything.
Yeah. So the stat is like, it's like a few days a year represents 80 to 90% of the growth. Nobody, not the professional advisors, not the people on TV, the talking heads, like nobody knows when those few days are, but you have to be there to get that growth. It's not important to be timing the market. It's important to spend time in the market. So investing for the long term, you'll be there for all those massive gains. And typically those happen during the scariest times.
Yes.
And that's why you get rewarded for actually being patient and being on for the ride.
I know someone who pulled out all their money when the market was tanking, and I'll be honest, man, I was a former pastor, so I didn't have buckets of money. A lot of my adult life, finally started getting some great profit in business here the last 10 years. But the point is that even this one, man, scared me. Because I thought, oh my gosh, I just lost, 25% of my retirement in a few weeks.
Yep.
And I was tempted too to be like, see ya, because I don't know how bad it's going to get.
Right.
But you're right. You stick in there, and all of a sudden you're up now.
Obstacle number 7.
Let's talk about that. Obstacle number 7.
Obstacle number 7 is letting feelings get in the way.
Oh yeah, I like that. Talk about
so that. Letting feelings get in the way. I mean, that's human nature. Human nature is that we're going to be tempted to be fearful or greedy, and we're going to make reactionary decisions based on our feelings. If you think about someone who falls in love with a house, and the house is way out of their budget, and the house is way overpriced, but it doesn't matter. I love that kitchen, so I got to have that house. And so you're going to pay whatever it takes because your feelings have already attached you to that financial decision. Same thing with the investments, like, oh, my retirement's gone down 30% and I can't take it anymore. I'm too stressed, and therefore I'm going to sell. And what you do is you turn temporary declines into permanent losses. So don't turn temporary declines into permanent losses. Keep your investment strategy steady through the ups and the downs.
Does your team say that you come up with really good Chadisms? I mean, that was good. Can you say that again? Do you even remember?
Yeah. Do not turn temporary declines into permanent losses.
That's good. That's good.
So like, something we constantly remind people of is that successful investing is goal focused and planning driven. It's not responding to the news alerts and the headlines and the scary things that are supposedly happening every year. Every single year, there's going to be an apocalypse du jour, and the market's going to drop 15% at least during the year. And that's a chance for all the scaredy cats to bail out and jump out of the roller coaster ride. But those who stay committed and consistent, and they have a game plan. They've got a fiduciary advisor. They've got it all set up. They don't get rattled by that at all. And if you talk to these clients during February and March, they were not stressed and worried and anxious like most of the people were out there who were just kind of, well, here it goes. Everything's going down, so I might as well get out now before it goes down even further.
Yeah.
So,
and I've heard it said that if you do pull out during that time where it's real low, human nature is not to get back in. Like, when are you going to get back in? You're not going to get back in.
There are people that never got back in after 2008. They're still not in. It's been 12 years.
Wow. So you get out here, now the market goes up, and suddenly you're like, oh, okay, I'll go back in. Then it goes back down. Yeah, it's just you're going to lose.
It's a cycle. So on page, I got to find this emotional cycle.
Interesting.
Here it is, page 110.
Okay.
Page 110, there's a little like emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, and so that's how people feel, when at the very height, they feel euphoria and excitement and thrill. And at the bottom, it's despondency, it's depression, it's giving up, it's capitulation. Yeah. But what happens if you follow your feelings, then I'm going to buy more when it's expensive. And I'm going to sell it when it's cheap. So you're going to buy high and you're going to sell low. Buy high and sell low, and you're going to keep doing it over and over again until you're broke. When really, if we were to say, hey, Nordstrom's having a sale and everything is 50% off, and we don't know how long the sale is going to last, you'd probably run down there and say, I'm going to pick up a couple things, because everything's on sale 50%. Yet for some reason, financially, we do the exact opposite. Things are on sale and we say, I better sell it now when it's super cheap. Or I'm going to wait till the price is quadruple, and then I'm going to feel comfortable going back to Nordstrom's and get some stuff. Makes no sense, but that's what we do.
Well, and I love the humility that you say you don't know the answer to the question about the short run. I think there's a lot of people out there who pretend that
I agree.
They know.
I agree. It's very easy to pretend and to say enough smart things and probably win over some new clients that you just had a first meeting with. But we will always tell, our whole team will always tell you, we do not know what's going to happen in the short run. And the fact is, nobody does. Nobody does. But we do know that if you look at what you can control and what you can influence, that you're going to be in a much better position than if you just kind of look around for some soothsaying fortune teller, because it's not going to work out.
Do you ever have other types of investments other than the stock market? I mean, honestly, I don't know that answer about Pacific Capital. What do you suggest?
As a fiduciary, we advise clients on their entire financial life, whether we're managing the investments or not. So, for example, we have many clients who have investment real estate or who have their own private business. And we're going to help as a team basically be that third party, that other set of eyes to objectively look at and analyze what they're doing and give them some feedback. Here are some things that I think that you're doing that are doing very well. Said, hey, this rental property that you have, it's actually a very low return. You should probably look at some alternatives. So we're going to give you advice on your whole financial life, not just the investments in your financial accounts. But we invest in things that are, we have real estate, we have tax-free bonds, we have ETF funds that are very diversified. So, but I would say the investment vehicle isn't as important as the relationship of trust, as the overall advice and guidance, as having the game plan, having everything coordinated together. So it's not just some big fragmented collection of accounts and things like that. The vehicle of how to invest to get your results and your cash flow is not as important as actually having the plan to get there.
Absolutely. Well, here we got our next person who's going to be getting the prize, which is Chad's fantastic, amazing bestseller, just came out. And then we'll only have one more after that. And the team's watching. So the most engaged, the person who comments, the person who shares, the person who tags friends that would benefit will be able to get this third copy. But the second copy is Jackie Honeycutt Lopez.
Awesome.
Jackie Honeycutt Lopez. Congrats to you. And Chad, let's jump in with some other things. What are
Okay.
some warnings you have for people when investing or making big money decisions?
I would say one of the warnings is don't get caught up in the fads. A lot of things, if it's just like grandma told you or grandpa told you, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Today, October 1st, 2020, at the banks, the money market savings rate is almost basically zero. Interest rates are at all-time lows. So if someone comes to you and has an investment idea that's going to make you 20% or 30%, and it's so easy and all you got to do is give us your money, and it's this almost this risk-free idea, you just got to think to yourself, if the banks are paying zero, is 30% risk-free, does that sound reasonable? Probably not. So I think there are a lot of things out there, a lot of opportunities, like I said, shiny objects, get rich quick. We want to shortcut the process. Human nature, we want to shortcut the process by almost kind of being bailed out by a miracle investment. I want to win the lottery because it's way quicker than me planning and preparing and saving for 20 years. I'd rather just somehow get money in my bank account quickly. So it does take work. You're going to reap what you sow. It's not a quick get rich quick type of thing. So don't be tricked or lured in by things that are going to turn out poorly. We had a couple in San Diego who reached out to us. They're in their late 60s, and most of their retirement funds they had invested in 3 or 4 private investments with the promises of very big returns. They were going to double their money or get 30% a year in income, and it was going to work out so great. And all 3 of them went to nothing. And they called us with basically like 1/4 of what they had. Very distrustful of people, but they were referred to us. And it broke my heart, honestly, to hear this couple who's no longer working. And they basically squandered their entire life savings because they fell for 2 or 3 of these ideas. So I'd say that's a warning for all of us. There are so many things out there that people just kind of pass along as a quick idea. And if you get caught up in that, get rich quick, then you might have major regrets later.
So that's one extreme, jumping in on the idea. What about the person who's watching right now and saying, well, because the stock market could go down, because some ideas might be bad, they just say, I'm going to put my money under the mattress.
Yeah.
Is that a good strategy?
It's not. I mean, you do need to have some savings. You do need to be prepared for, as we saw, most financial people talk about have 3 to 6 months of savings. Perfect example is 2020. I mean, if you lost your job or if your business went under because of all the COVID restrictions, then at least you had 3 to 6 months of savings. So a lot of families and businesses were exposed for not having that savings reserve. So we believe you should have some savings reserve, but you shouldn't be sitting on the sidelines. If you have all your money doing nothing for you, then just inflation alone is going to eat up the value of what you've got. So you've got to have money growing. There's just a balance. It's almost like you don't want to have the porridge too hot or too cold. You want it just in the middle. You don't want to be super aggressive, risky, trying to get rich quick, double my money overnight. You don't want to be sitting on the sidelines doing nothing, basically having your money under the mattress. You just want to have a plan. You want to have a balance. You want to have some safety investments. You want to have some growth investments. You want to have things that are paying interest. You've got to have a balanced approach for sure.
That's so cool. Talk about your model here, how you work.
So how we work, the first conversation there is the goals conversation. That's where we have that discovery appointment with somebody and we learn about their goals. They learn about how we help people like them. If it's a fit and they want to move forward, then we'll move on to number 2 together. That's the financial life inspection. Financial life inspection is like a full appraisal of your financial life. We're going to look at everything. We're going to look at college planning for your kids or grandkids, estate planning, investment strategy, cash flow, taxes, retirement planning. We're going to look at all of that together. We'll even look at your insurance, your debt, your real estate. We're going to look at and analyze and give advice on things that, like a fiduciary said, we don't get paid to even process for you. So we'll look at your homeowner's insurance. If you could be saving money there, even though we have nothing to do with homeowner's insurance, we just want to basically touch every area of your financial life. And so the financial life inspection is our unique process of going through 100 checkpoints and giving you advice and guidance. You're going to get a green, a yellow, or a red score in every one of those 100 checkpoints from our fiduciary team. So once we've gone through that process, it takes a few weeks. Then number 3 is the strategy conversation, where we're going to deliver all of those recommendations. And we're going to help you implement as many of them as we can. And we could refer you to other people to help you, or you could use your own people. That's totally up to you. And then, of course, the result is increased financial success and security. And that's what Jackie and some of the other clients on this interview have mentioned. They've gone through that process. So this is our fiduciary process to work with people.
So good. That's so good. So Heather says Gen Z is so into the quick investments like Robinhood. What do we tell our eager beaver kiddos about this?
I would say, number one, it's a positive thing that younger people are looking to get into investing. So I think it's great. You know, if you don't know what Robinhood is, it's an online trading app where you can basically go on and start an account at a young age, and for free you can buy and sell investments right there by yourself. And I think it's great that people want to get educated and get into investing and have ideas. I think it's a great learning experience. You know, my next book next year is going to be about teaching kids about money. So it's a topic that's important to me as a father of 5.
That's right. I remember you talking about that book. That sounds fantastic.
That's something that we all need to learn about. I'd say just caution them to, if they're investing money that they're going to need in the short term, that's probably a risky proposition. So if they're investing money that they're going to need for college or a car or their first home, and they're under, it's under 3 or 4 years out when they're going to need that money, I would be very careful to be trading stocks. That's my personal opinion. Investing in the stock market is something that you do when it's a long-term goal that you've got, not a short-term.
Love that advice. Someone says, what do you think about Stash? I have not heard of that. Do you know about that?
Honestly, Valerie, what is Stash? Is that another one of the trading apps? If you let me know, I actually haven't heard of it.
Yeah.
If someone on my team has, but I haven't.
No problem. I love this. Let's get into a few other questions.
Sure.
What are some key differences between people who are financially successful and those who struggle? Do you see certain themes or patterns?
Yes, I definitely do. People who are successful start with the end in mind. They have clear and written goals. They have accountability. They have someone that they hold themselves accountable with. They don't get distracted by all the noise all the things outside that are constantly distracting them. So they're really focused on how do I get the goals that I'm aiming for. They're committed. It's like, how do I get healthy? If I'm trying to lose 30 pounds and get really healthy and lower my blood pressure, I can't exercise once a month, and keep going to that fast food on the way home from work. I've got to actually be committed and consistent. So one analogy we like to use with consistency and saving and investing is, imagine if you work out once a month for 15 hours in one day, last day of the month, actually first day of the month. Today's October 1st. So I'm going to work out for 15 straight hours in the gym, or I'm going to work out 30 minutes a day for the next 30 days. What's the difference in outcome? What's the difference in the strength that you're building and the health that you're building? So to us, that's like the difference of person saving money once a year. I'm going to save at the end of the year however much I have left over. If I get a bonus, I'm going to put some money in a retirement account, and that's good enough. We feel that it's better to save smaller amounts more frequently and be consistent and build up that strength, and especially letting that compound interest work for you. Big difference.
That's so good. Well, the crowd has jumped on and they've talked that Stash is very similar to the app that you were referring to. So same advice.
Yeah, same advice. No different. Be careful. I'm not a fan personally of what's called penny stocks. Stocks that are under $2 a share, where people are trying to buy it for 6 cents and sell it for 20 cents and this and that. I know you can make money doing that. To me, it's more like gambling most of the time. So when it comes to investing, investing is very different than gambling. So I think that's kind of the hype and sensation around it, is like, oh, I heard a rumor that this penny stock is going to go up 100% in the next 3 days. And sometimes it does. And that's the thing. Sometimes it does. So you think, well, maybe this one will be the next one. So I would just say, be cautious about it. Don't get sucked into those kinds of get rich quick trading ideas if it's money that is especially needed for something in the short term.
That's awesome. And let's face it, it becomes all consuming.
It does.
If you're watching, what are you thinking about the next 3 days? You're not focused on your family, your friends. No. Yeah, you're just sitting there like, did I do it? Didn't I? And the rush.
Perfect example, Kary, is Bitcoin.
Ooh.
Bitcoin a few years ago around Christmas time, and there was hype that it was going to go to $100,000 a coin, and it was at 8,000 or 7,000, or it went up to 19,000. And I know people that literally were watching it 10 to 12 hours a day in their little coin apps and just constantly obsessing with it. Everything else goes to the side because the risk is high. And so it does suck you in. I understand it's tempting. If you have an itch to be a little bit of a gambler, keep it to a really small amount. But serious money for big, important goals should be professionally managed and planned.
Love it. Well, we're going to wrap up here in about 6 minutes, but I do want to give away our final winner. And it's the book, folks, Stress-Free Money: Overcome These 7 Obstacles to Find Financial Freedom. It's a fantastic book. I love the hook on the back. It says, every day you're bombarded by ideas that could derail your financial future. And the winner of the 3rd and final book, it's your friend and mine. And I promise I did not pick this person. I'm going to my Slack. It's Janelle Bruland. So Janelle, one of our colleagues, she's been commenting a lot, sharing.
Thank you, Janelle.
Yeah, good job to Janelle. And let's talk about this. How can people find out more about you? Someone just even said, hey, I learned something today. I was going to move towards Stash and you got me to think differently. What would you say to someone who says, this is making sense? And I'm just going to recap my points, okay?
Yeah.
Those brilliant quotes you said, you might have to remind me again, because those are so good. But you talked about Fiduciary. You talked about how that is it. By the way, you have a chapter called The F Word. Was that?
No, the F word is actually fees.
Fees. Okay. So I didn't know where you were going with that. I just got the book and started plowing through it, but that's a great chapter too. So fees, since you brought that up, let's talk about fees really quick.
Yep. So the F word can derail your financial life if you're paying too much in fees. Most people, a Fidelity study shows that over 75% of people think that their 401k accounts are free. Their investment funds are free. They don't cost them anything. So I think one of the biggest misunderstandings that people have is how much am I actually paying for my investments and my investment advice. So in that chapter, I just give some tips and ideas about how to really be clear and understand what you're paying. It's a big difference if you look at all of the different investment funds and the advisor you're working with, and you're paying 4%. That's going to be a much different outcome than someone you're paying 1% or 1.5%.
It could be millions of dollars.
It's a lot of money over a 10, 20, 30, 40-year period. It's a lot of money. So I would just say that, we share a couple stories of people who were shocked and how they discovered what they were paying. I think it's just very important. You should know it's fair and transparent. You should know what you're paying and what you're getting. So
interesting. So you got fiduciary, you talked about that. You talked about fees. You talked about something about if you don't know where your money's going to, that whole quote again about tell your money where it's going, or
tell your money where to go, or it's going to tell you where to go.
Wow. So good. That's so good. So I would encourage everybody, look, if they have not had these conversations, this strategy, it's a great website, by the way, pacificcapital.com. It goes over the whole model. I love the transparency that I feel today too. In fact, it earns trust, rather than you saying, oh yeah, I can predict the short-term market, or
here's what we look at. Here are the charts we're watching. This is what's going to happen after the election. We have no idea. Nobody does. So
I love that. And you legit have to be certified. So you've gone through that process. People can't just say they're a fiduciary.
Nope.
Wow. Love that. And right now, the call to action that people can do is schedule their goals conversation. If people just joined us late, what is, in 60 seconds, the goal conversation again?
Goals conversation is us helping you clarify and share all the things that are important to you in your life. What you're worried about, what keeps you up at night, what have you been procrastinating, what do you want help with? Design your ideal future in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Let's create it together. So we'll show you some of the tools that we use for our clients, and we'll be very transparent about that. And then you'll be able to share all the things that you're thinking about, and we'll see if there's a fit. That's the goals conversation. Often it's literally a 20 to 40 minute call, and that's it. So
that's so good. And it's free. So people can check that out.
Yep.
If you found value today, folks, I want you to go type in the word thanks, Chad, because again, Chad came on here as a massive giver. He didn't say, oh, I'm going to hold back content. I'm going to not let you know some things. I mean, he just gave it away. And I would encourage you, if you have a son or daughter, if you have your own needs, check this out. I mean, this book is 24 reviews, and that's pretty quick. So that tells me
it came out Tuesday, so it's only a day and a half so far. So I'm excited.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, good for you. It's blowing up. And we even put in there your email address, which is awesome.
Thank you.
That's surprising that it sounds like you're approachable.
We are very approachable. We're very transparent. We don't want to persuade someone to work with us or push them to work with us. It needs to be a good fit. So we're going to tell you the truth. And when we give advice, Kary, the thing is, we're going to tell you the pros and the cons, the potential upside and the potential downside of everything, because we want you to be able to make the most informed decision.
Yeah.
And we'll share with you what we believe is the best route, but we're going to tell you the straight truth. There's no hiding anything here on our team.
I love it. And big shout out to Strategic Coach as well. We have Julia, we have Janelle, we have Shannon. I mean, lots of colleagues, lots of friends.
Strategic Coach is awesome.
Oh man, they're why we're connected. Chad, this has been truly amazing. Super proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
That's no small feat. And listen, I got one warning for you. You ready?
I'm ready.
Can your team handle the volume of people reaching out? Because this thing has been shared and viewed, and over the next 2 days on Facebook, it'll reach quite a few thousand. Can you handle it?
Absolutely. Bring it on. We're ready.
Oh, all right. All right. Well, listen, folks, this was a blast. Chad, you have a great dinner with your family tonight.
Thank you.
It was an honor to interview you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right. We'll see you, everybody.
Bye.